All righty, so round three, we're excited to have a program from Miss Chelsea Rose. If you haven't watched our other two, make sure to check those out. You can find Chelsea where?
Yep. Hello. I'm over at Instagram on Chelsea Rose Health and on YouTube at Chelsea Rose Health. That's where we're putting these other videos.
And let me pull up some stuff real quick on a couple workouts. So we looked at the programming from the last two videos, and some things that we identified were multi-jointed exercises first, how long we should be resting for, how many reps and variety, don't want too much, want to optimize set ranges between probably 9 to 15 per workout, 10 to 40 per week. And then more importantly, what are some red flags? So we wanted to start off today by taking a look at two programs. Both put this information on Instagram. So we're going to look at Miss Taylor, 20,000 followers. You can try her workouts. And here is a workout that she's doing. So she has some great development. She looks the part of a fitness influencer. So we're doing 4 sets of 10 with 25 on each side. And then we're going to get into 4 sets of pulse lunges, same weight. Looks like that's like a lifetime. Those are always great gyms. And then we're going to do 4 sets of 10 with the curtsies, 4 sets of 10 on the RDLs, and then end off on 4 sets of 10 on our hack squats. So when you look at what we were discussing earlier, the big red flag for me is the total sets. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 20 sets is a lot of work. Can it work? Sure. Look at her physique. She has great development. Chelsea, would you agree, disagree? What?
No, totally. Yeah, she looks great.
People will look at her and be like, damn, I want to look like her. I never personally never get this photo. This like you put one ass cheek on the mirror, but okay, whatever. Booty gains. I love it. But when you look at it, the difference between a fitness professional, someone who actually has a background and understands movement and programming, versus a fit influencer. So when you have 20 plus sets in a workout, that's just significantly too much. And none of these are close to volitional fatigue. So she's saving a lot in the tank. And that's what you would call junk volume. And do you need to be doing 20? Well, she's doing it and she's fine. Well, she's also younger. What's her stress like? What's her financial situation? What's her sleep? Probably doesn't have any kids. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But we don't have a lot of these things going against us. And so I feel for a mom that were to follow this program, like, shit, I got to do 20 sets for legs to look like her. And that's not the case. You could get by a lot more efficiently. And I'm sure she has a program that she's selling for X amount. And essentially, this is what works for her. Now, the difference between a great trainer and an influencer, influencers understand their body. Great trainers understand the human body. And so let's take a look at someone with a background like Masha. She's a protege under Brett Contreras. So you look at her programming. So we have pulses for 30, 25, 20, 3 sets. Then we're going to do, it's a different angle, those are 3 sets. Step ups, 12, 10, 8. High step up. The higher, the more glute activation. Notice how she comes over a little bit. It's going to be more hip dominant. Always also an inexperienced trainer because they'll be like, oh, she has knee valgus. Shut up. Yeah. Knee valgus. It's like, come on. Why is it? That's always dudes too that try to like pick down or pick apart girls and like, oh, that's like, dude, no, she's kicking ass. She's strong as hell. Love this. Great work there. And then she just 3 sets of that. She videos those, and then she's doing some 45-degree hyper specific focus there. She flipped these around with a single leg. There's the curls and then the hyper. Look how much weight that is. I mean, she's a stud at it. She's kicking ass. She's strong. And so look at the total volume. 3, 6, 8, 11, 14. And so she's hitting 14 sets, lifting serious weight. And so that's the difference between someone who has an actual background, understands movement. She's one of Brett Contreras's If you don't know what Brett Contreras is, that's like the leading guru in the world. He has a PhD in how the glutes work. So we have a fitness professional here, and then we have an influencer. So the purpose of this isn't to knock anyone and they're a bad person. This is, in our opinion, on how to disseminate through all the bullshit that's out there, because a lot of people will look at these individuals and be like, wow, which program should I do? I mean, what do you think goes through a lot of your clients' minds, Chelsea, when they look at these two programs or these two individuals?
I mean, for sure, I know that girls will definitely always look at the body of the person. And that is a huge marker of, the kind of education that they believe that they have in their programming. And it's obviously that makes sense for a lot of different businesses. Like if you're going to go get your haircut and the person you're getting your haircut by has the worst hair, you're going to be like, I don't know if I trust you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's the same exact thing when it comes to training. But it is hard to start to realize that maybe the people that have like even good physiques don't necessarily know what they're talking about. And that's why it's good to kind of teach this and start to teach you guys, what you can look for so that you can just better, allow yourself to sign up for training or buy a program or whatever. And it's just going to put you ahead of the game as far as setting yourself up with proper training.
Yeah. So that's one of the red flags, doing more than 15. If one of them had like 16 sets, it wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's a terrible program. But when you're getting 20 and you're doing the same rep scheme, so everything's 4x10, to me, my mind just goes, they don't know how to program. They don't understand functional anatomy. They don't understand programming. These are things that we teach in our internships. Our internship is geared towards getting, now what we've released, our level 1 and level 2 show up fitness coach. So we focus a lot of time on understanding anatomy, because to understand really programming, you need to have a really great foundation with anatomy. And so let's talk a little bit about the program that you had. Do I need to share the screen with you or?
Yes.
Okay.
There.
Let's give the control to Miss Chelsea. And I just muted you on accident. Sorry. Now I made you a host.
Okay. So I can just pull it up through the text, right?
We'll see. I think so.
Sorry. Can you see my screen right now?
No.
Oh.
You have to click on the little guy down there. So share screen and you pull it up.
Oh, I see. Okie dokie. Sorry, everybody. 1 sec. Okay. Yeah, so this is a program that I wanted to go over. So I just, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a program that I actually signed myself up for last summer. And this was a program I signed up for because as a trainer, sometimes you just want someone else to write your programming for you. And also it's interesting to just see what kind of programs are being put out there. Obviously, I'm very interested in looking at that. So I had sent this to Chris because I was doing this program for a little bit. But if you look right here at the top, it actually tells you exactly how many sets you're doing for this workout. And as you can see, this is lower number 2. So we'll look at, there's other options for this week, but there's lower 1, lower 2, and lower 3. And all of them fall between like 20 to 23 sets per workout. And I remember sending this to Chris and he was like, not into it because of the high volume. And to be honest, I followed this workout program for a little bit. And I ended up injuring myself. Like my back was constantly hurting, my knees, my joints were hurting. And I directly, honestly correlate it with the amount of volume I was doing over the course of the week. It was 60 plus sets a week just for legs.
Insane. And with that being said, I just want to piggyback off of that. So red flags, too many sets. Now, how could you make this better? If this was just one workout, maybe you can do 2 per week, because something we talked about, hit the muscles at least twice per week. So like a Monday, Friday. If you felt okay and you wanted to get after it a little bit, you got 4 sets here. You have 3 at 7. You have 10. You have 13. Now, if you were to do, a couple isolation at the end, so 3-leg curl, 3-leg extension, that wouldn't be terrible, even though we are technically at like 19 because we're isolating at the end. But we're doing a leg curl, and then we're doing more, essentially more hip thrusts at the end. And so that's just a lot of volume, and it's not needed. You could get more bang for your buck by doing 4 sets of truly going to volitional fatigue here on the hip thrust. Take the lunges out. I think those are dumb walking lunges. If you want to do plyo squats, that's fine. Do your step ups. That's 10. And then do 3 sets here and then end off on there. That would be fine. And as we just were looking at earlier from the Fit Pro and her program routine, she was doing 11 to 12 total sets. It's about the intensity. We got to look at volume, frequency, intensity. So if you have 60 sets, my mind says you are not training hard.
Yeah.
I worked out with Brett Contreras one time in San Diego. I worked out with him a couple of times. And his volume is crazy low. But each set, he's really taking it to fatigue. And so when you really understand the acute variables within programming, I feel for people that do this because this is going to take you a long ass time too.
Yeah, it is really crazy. So a lot of people know that I have scoliosis and that my fitness journey has kind of been like a wild ride with my back, just always trying to make sure that I'm not injuring it too bad, but also just I felt like I was constantly having lower back pain. And I just always correlated that with the fact that I have scoliosis and it's natural that I'm going to have lower back pain. But when I started training the way I'm training now, which is I hit like 12 sets of legs 3 times a week. I really truly feel like someone literally just asked me the other day, like, how's your back feeling? And I told him, I was like, wow, actually, I haven't even noticed it besides this last weekend when I accidentally did something. But before that, it's been totally fine. And I haven't had like that strain on my back at all. And I've been seeing really good results. And I think what people don't understand is they think, how is it possible that I could be doing less work, but seeing more results? It seems like it just doesn't make any sense. But what we have to start thinking about is what Chris is talking about, which is the intensity. So if I'm trying to do 4 sets of, let's say 10 hip thrust, I want to be able to give my hip thrust all I've got during those 10 reps. And if you're going right into a second exercise, or if you did something right before that, or, if you're tired and you're not giving yourself enough rest, then you actually can't go and give as much intensity as you would have been able to for sets 2, 3, and 4. So therefore, you're not able to get as good of results, really. And so right now, what I do is I do a set and I rest and I hang out. And I'd love to do a video on that even, and just kind of show people like what my workouts actually look like in between exercises, because I feel like we need to try to normalize it and make it more of like a popular thing, especially amongst women, I feel like, because we do want to bounce all over the place. And that's why we don't get the results we're looking for.
That's guilty, as we've said in the other call, where you get into those classes, F45, and it's harder, but harder doesn't mean it's better. And so from when you have a scientific background and you understand the fundamentals of movement and physiology, bioenergetics, it makes perfect sense. But for those that are trying to grasp it, think of, and this is a great exercise for you to try, go to a track, do a little warm up. And I want you to sprint one of the straights, which is 100 yards. I want you to time that. Then I want you to walk back and do it again as fast as you can. Now, this is the example I give. Pretend like Chelsea and I are going to race right now. And the winner lives, the loser dies. And on top of that, a gorilla who's all horned up behind us, he's going to be let loose, and he's going to come attack us. So the loser is going to get destroyed. So you're going to give it everything you have. Now, if you time yourself and you jog back and then you sprint again, you're going to see a significant change in those times. The first couple ones would be, say, 15 seconds. Now, the ones after are going to be 17, 20, 23. You can keep going all day long. You do 20 sets. But if you look at where the max intensity was, it was those first 2. So the rest is just kind of junk. You are training the system. You're going to get results from it, sure. But you could probably do 5 or 6 max sets and you wouldn't have to do an extra 16. So for example, the girl we were looking at earlier, when she was doing 4 sets of 10, she could have probably done, not probably, I know for a fact, she could have done 1 set with heavier load to volitional fatigue. So maybe put another 25 on each side. And that would be more bang for her buck. That 1 set, which would be 145 because she had a 25, that's 95 at another 50. That would be better than her 4 sets where she's not going to fatigue. Mm-hmm. And that's hard for newer people to rationalize, not rationalize, conceptualize and really grasp that. So let's take a look at the other one.
Okay. So this is the first one. So again, we're looking at 20 sets. And if you see here, these little arrows, when they're closer to each other, that means that this person wants us to superset this exercise. So we start with a leg curl, a single leg curl on a machine for 10 to 12. Everything's 10 to 12. Again, kind of what we were talking about on the Instagram workout that we were just looking at. It's really just a bunch of volume and no variety in the rep range. And again, starting with a single leg exercise and on a machine, I'd prefer to see us starting with probably the hip thrust. I'd say out of all of these exercises, the hip thrust is going to be where most girls are going to be able to rack up the most weight. So, and she's asking us to do the same reps. So that's why I would want that to go first. Had this said that she wanted us to do 30 reps here, then I'd say, sure, that makes sense to have that at the end, because if you're doing 30 reps of something, then you're going to obviously have it be lighter. But all the same reps. So I'd say do the hip thrust first, and then and then we can get into some of this other stuff, but overall it's the same kind of concept. It's just so much volume for one lower body workout.
So great analysis there, Chelsea. You will notice when we looked at the program with the lady who was doing 30 reps. Yeah. Now we can't, what scientists have found, Dr. Schoenfeld and a lot of other Campbell and so forth, that instead of having a rep range, old school bodybuilding beliefs for hypertrophy, it's 6 to 12 is optimal for hypertrophy. What we've learned now, it's close to like 33 to 30. So you can still grow your type 1 muscle fibers if you are going to volitional fatigue. And as you saw with her program, she was getting after it for those 30 reps. And that's what's going to, for that, probably part of her cycle within her periodization, that month, she's just going to be going a little lighter, but going after it in that regard. So next month, she wouldn't be doing the same thing, 30, 25, 20. She may be doing 10, 8, 6. And the next month, she would be doing 20, 15, 10. So the variety is what's important. Don't fall in love with just 6 to 12. If this was a program someone sent me, I would ask them, what does the next month rep range look like? And if they said 10 to 12 again, that would be a big red flag, because variety is important for the reps, not the exercise.
And speaking of that, this person that created this workout program had me on this workout program for like 10 weeks. The same exact workouts, nothing changed whatsoever. And I was like, what? I don't understand this at all. Yeah. So there's that. Like that also doesn't make any sense. Like I did a post about this the other day, kind of talking about the variables within your workout plan that you should be paying attention to. And it's all the stuff that Chris and I have been talking about, but also paying attention to how often those things or those variables should be changing. So like we're saying in this workout, we would love to see some different reps throughout the individual workout. And we'd also love to see some different reps throughout the week of this program. So maybe if we're doing the same movement pattern for 4 weeks and say it's hip thrust, maybe we can do like 6 reps of hip thrust to start on workout 1, and then workout 2, we can do a rep range of like 10 hip thrusts, and then workout 3, maybe we hit a rep range of like 20 hip thrusts to start. So looking at those variables changing throughout the week. And that's why we're kind of not very into seeing 10 to 12 throughout workout 1, 2, and 3 for weeks at a time. But other variables that we want to look at that maybe change monthly, like Chris was just saying, are maybe the patterns or the exercises themselves, or like the movement patterns that you're focusing on.
Perfectly said. And I think that's going to add us on a seventh one of our commandments, which would be you want to see a change in the program typically between 4 to 6 weeks. That's why I'm always a little deterred when someone gives you a 3 month program and they sell that 90 days, because there's so much that can be going on. I personally like week programs, because when my clients send me the program, I can analyze their form, see how they're doing, check in to see how they're feeling, if they're not sleeping well, if they're super stressed out. Maybe I need to modify that volume for that next week. But exactly as Chelsea was saying, you want to piggyback off that and bring up the last workout too?
Oh, yep. Let's see. So this is the last one. I believe, yeah. It's also just interesting, like the other two workouts, lower body workouts for the week, were called legs. This one's called glutes, but we're doing a lot of the same exercises. We do go through a little bit better of a rep pattern here, where we start with a little bit of lower reps and we move it up and get into like 15. But what are your thoughts on this program, Chris?
In today's workout, I mean, they all suck. I mean, I'll be blunt and just say it's someone's paying a lot of money for a fucking terrible program. Now, yeah, this isn't, when you see, you can always tell how uneducated someone is when they say glutes and then they have squats. Squats are more quad dominant. You can make a reverse lunge more quad dominant, especially when you stand up like this example is. Good mornings are a very advanced exercise. So I'd like to see like a deadlift or something there, an RDL, which would be more efficient. Good mornings are great for your glutes and erectors, sure, but it's a progressed exercise. Leg press is actually a terrible fucking exercise for your glutes. It's knee dominant. You'd want to do, well, point your toes out. Yeah. It's like saying what has a higher score, a 25 out of 100 or a 27? Sure, you're going to get some more activation when you put your feet out a little bit, but I'm not going to do a leg press for my glutes. I'm going to do better exercises like this would be a decent one, your split stance, elevated one. I'll probably put that one first at all this. Your squats are fine to do as well, but it's just a lot of core movements, just too much, way too much. So 22 sets, you could cut this in half. You could choose two main ones. So you got a squat and a reverse lunge. So you have a squat pattern unilateral, great. Complement it with a couple accessory movements. So you could do an RDL instead of a good morning and your leg press. And that would be a good amount of volume for that day. Then the next time you come in, you do your split squat for 3 or 4 sets, you do your hip thrusts, and then you end off with AB and A deductions. And if you want to do like one burnout of 30 or 40, that's fine. That would be 10 times superior than this workout. Again, it's really hard for us to break these. I have fun doing it because Chelsea's so smart and she does a great job. But really, the person who makes these, they're just fucking idiots. And people will get upset, and that's mean. No, because this could potentially hurt someone. And why isn't that individual held accountable? What if this person gets rhabdomyolysis? That could potentially happen from this workout. 22 sets is idiotic. There's no accountability. There's no citations, nothing. And ultimately, we get the bad name. Trainers who are educated and really do help people and are great at our jobs, we're now the idiots because of dipshits like this. It's insane. It is insane.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. So,
anything you want to add off on for this last one? This was great, Chelsea. Anything else?
I have a quick question that might help other people too. Is there an easy way? I think we kind of talked about this before, but say someone gets a program and it says to do a squat as the first exercise, and it says to do 6 reps. And maybe that person doesn't necessarily feel comfortable going heavy enough to do, a set of 6 reps that's going to actually be effective because maybe their form flops or whatever. How do they go about finding the appropriate amount of weight to use for, say, like 10 reps? I know obviously we could say like, put some weight on there, do 10 and see if you feel like you could add weight or not. But it's like, if they think that they can do maybe 120 pounds for a squat for 6 reps, is there an easy way to go about finding out what they should aim for 10?
Yeah, I mean, there's not. There is calculators you can use, your one rep max calculators, and those vary significantly based on the condition and the experience of the individual. So that's like 85% corresponds roughly with 5 reps. That's not always that accurate. You do have reps in reserve, which is RIR. So if here's what I tell my clients, like if I'm doing an online program, how much can you back squat for 6 reps? And they say 120. So, all right, if I were to give you 100 grand per rep that you can do after that, what could you honestly do? That's like your reps in reserve. So if they were to say none, okay, that's a really good indication. That's 6, then maybe do sets of 3 or 4. Now, if they were to say, I could probably do 4 more, then that really isn't a good indicator for a 6 rep max. That's more, you're a little cautious, which is natural because you don't have a spotter. So you just need to be smart and go with a gym partner, or just bump down the weight and focus on full range of motion, because full range of motion is going to be superior than going heavier and compromising your form.
Okay, cool.
All right, everyone. So we should get these up here within a couple of days. This is video number 3. We are continuing to grow our tenets of programming. Next week, we will have another one out there. And thank you very much, Chelsea.
Thank you. Yep, we will talk to you guys next time.